Welcome to Sip and Strip, the podcast where we explore the nuances of desire and unravel the intricacies of pleasure, all while enjoying a glass of your favorite wine. Join us on a journey where we dive into the world of sexual exploration and embrace the beauty of conscious intimacy. And here are your hosts, wine communicator Natalia Suter and sex and intimacy coach Melanie Knight.
If you're doing it one way, upwards, you can make your breasts firmer, and if you're going downwards, you can actually make your breasts bigger. They're very close to the heart, so it's very connected to the heart and the heart chakra, if you know much about chakras. So massaging them and spending time with them is heart opening.
Okay, so today we are going to talk about breasts, and quite honestly, I wasn't quite sure that we would be able to record an entire episode about breasts, which sort of shows you how little I know about breasts and also how little importance I give to the breast. My first question is about myths and misconceptions, because I presume there would be quite a few women who have the same line of thinking about breasts. I've had my breasts for however many years. I know it quite well. What else is there to learn about breasts? So I want to start with the things that we don't know that we don't know.
I think many of us are not connected to our breasts.
There you go.
And this sort of comes to misconceptions. I think very often we see our breasts as functional.
Yes, breastfeeding.
Mainly for babies. I think also they're a fascination for men.
Yes, they are, yeah.
So men love breasts. They look at them, they eye them from across the corridor.
Yeah.
They like to fondle them.
Yeah.
But how often do we actually feel them and connect to them?
Mm. So
I think that's probably for me one of the biggest misconceptions is that actually they are an erogenous zone. That we have huge feelings and sensations, but because we don't think about them in that way, we don't connect to them in that way, we don't feel them.
Are we not connected to our breasts because we mainly focusing on other parts of our body? When let's say we take sex, we would maybe rush into the clitoris, vagina, and completely ignore the breasts. Is that one of the reasons why you're not connected?
Yeah, I would say so. I think both men and women do that a lot. So if we're masturbating for ourselves, self-pleasuring, we will often go straight to the clitoris.
Yes. Yeah.
Or G-spot or whatever works for you. But also if we're making love to a man, then very often there will be maybe a bit of foreplay. There might be a bit of stroking or kissing or something that might include the breast, but it certainly is only for potentially a few minutes.
Yes, as a first base.
First base, I like that.
And then
first base.
The main gig.
which is often mean that the breasts get left out, as do other parts of the body, but certainly the breasts are highly erotic, erogenous, and help us to feel more, I think, have more sensations in our body. We were talking about what you don't know, so they're very close to the heart, so it's very connected to the heart and the heart chakra, if you know much about chakras. So massaging them and spending time with them is heart opening, is connection to the heart.
So I presume that will be part of the tantric massage or tantric sex. Breast will play a more important role in a tantric massage? And
it certainly is included in a tantric massage, but it doesn't have to stay like that. I mean, I think many of us women, and hopefully they are because they're listening to this podcast, more of us are getting more open to actually there's something missing in my lovemaking, whether it be with my partner or myself, and actually wanting to have more of a connection and embody a body experience.
Yes,
And so you could call it tantric, but some people may not have even ever heard of that word, but actually would like to spend some time connecting to their breasts.
So how can this, for both men and women, because you said women can be very disconnected from the breast. For men as well, it could be just the first base, quick, before I get to the main part of the sexual intercourse. How can we incorporate this breast worship into the sexual intercourse so that it is satisfying for both men and women?
Yeah, well, I think it comes back to, well, certainly in lovemaking, it comes back to what I was talking about, which is foreplay should be at least 40 minutes. And a good proportion of that, certainly if you're with a man, could be he's massaging your breasts or stroking them, caressing them, kissing them. I would also recommend that as a woman, we do it ourselves. Because we can really waken up the feelings in our breasts by massaging them on a regular basis. It is about being responsible for our own pleasure and knowing our own breasts. And then when you come with a partner, they're more alive and more sensitive. So then actually allow the partner sees that that you have pleasure in that area, and so can be often turned on by the fact that you have pleasure.
Turned on. And caressing and touching breasts, I presume, would also help us explore and understand our own breasts, what we like, what we don't like, the preferences, sensitivities, desires, and then again communicating that to your partner. Again, it links to what we've been talking about quite a few times. You can't ask your partner to touch your breast in a way that you want or in a very sensual, sexual way if you actually don't know it yourself.
Yeah. And I think this comes back to, well, I think this is a few things. Very often we want our partner to do something that we don't really understand ourselves. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with asking your partner to touch your breasts, even if you've never done it. But there's a hugely improved experience if you know yourself and you know what you like and your breasts are alive. There's something about it. They become alive when you massage them. There's a tingle or a sensation that you get when you get connected to your breasts in that way.
We could start by literally just spending some minutes, some time with our own breasts, touching it. And that's enough to start connecting, and over time you will start.
So I'm going to make it a bit practical. I appreciate what readers can't see me, but I do this on a video sometimes. So how you could start is just by, first of all, making sure you're centered, you're calm, relaxed. But you can do it by, first of all, just holding your breasts. It can be over clothes or it can be underneath, so naked breasts. In fact, if you want to use oil and stuff, which I highly recommend, you probably want to be naked, but you can do it over clothes too. So you start by holding them, just noticing any feelings and sensations. And then once you've done that for a few minutes, you might just want to start just caressing and stroking, trying out different pressures, different speeds. Now, one of the things that's called a deer technique, which is thousands of years old, is a way that you massage your breasts by going round in circles. Like this, going under the breasts.
And how is it called? Deer.
The deer technique. Deer are like the animal.
Deer. The deer technique. Okay.
And this, if you're doing it one way, upwards, you can make your breasts firmer, and if you're going downwards, you can actually make your breasts bigger.
Oh, really?
If you do this regularly. And this is something you don't know. And there's been lots of people who have reported that their breasts become bigger.
Really?
I've got quite big breasts anyway, so I don't tend to get that
Go the other way.
But yeah, you are supposed to do it, they say, between 36 times circles and 360.
Oh, wow.
And then you would do it like daily for like a month or 2 months and just start to see if you notice any change.
Yeah, between 36 and 160 circles.
Yeah. So you would also
like a big task.
No, it's not. You could probably do that in 10 minutes or something. I would use oils to do it because you want it to glide. And again, using oil with any kind of massage, I find really sensual as well. So this is about also connecting to our femininity. So use natural oils if you're going to do it. I wouldn't use anything that's perfumed or anything like that because the chemicals can affect the breast tissue. So I tend to use things like coconut oil, rapeseed oil, that sort of stuff.
Okay. You could employ your boyfriend.
You can definitely employ your boyfriend. I'm not sure he'd be up for doing that every day, but well, it depends on the guy. But that certainly is a beautiful way to connect to your breasts and feeling. You'll notice they get sensitive. You might notice that you feel some stuff in them. It's also quite healing as well, because we have the lymphatic drainage system under your armpits. Can be quite a collection for the lymph nodes. So actually doing a breast massage can actually be really good to help keep the lymphatic drainage system as well. So it can be quite healing.
Okay. Are all breasts equally sensitive? Will we feel the same sensations, or is there a difference?
So with all sort of what we call somatic work or tantric work, the individual themselves is noticing what they notice.
Okay.
So what I notice might be different to what you notice. But what I would say is that, in the same way as yonis are all different sizes, different shapes, breasts are all different sizes and different shapes, but they all have the same function. We can breastfeed out of the tiniest of breasts, and as same as the biggest of breasts as well. And in the same ways, we can feel sensation in our breasts. Now, you might describe the feeling of sensation that you feel you might describe it differently to what I feel. I don't know, because I'm not in your body. And this is what the magic of things like Tantra is. Because what we feel changes. It changes from moment to moment. It might change from person to person. There is no one the same, no situation the same, no time the same. It is what it is.
Right. Is it the same with the breast orgasm? I remember when we were talking about orgasm in the very first episode, you mentioned breast orgasm, and in a possibly different episode, we were talking about orgasmic feeling. Would that be different, possibly for every woman? As long as it's orgasmic, you can describe it as a breast orgasm. But as you say, it is what it is. It will be very different. You'll experience it differently to what I will experience.
I suppose orgasm is probably defined by the fact that it's sort of got a peak, although energetic orgasms, I think, a bit more of a sort of peak and a plateau and a peak and a plateau. So energy orgasms are sort of a bit more like climbing the stairs, whereas a sort of clitoral orgasm might be peak and then die, peak and die maybe a couple of times or whatever. So there is a sort of definition of an orgasm. So in the same way as a clitoral orgasm is from the stimulation of the clitoris, the G-spot orgasm is the stimulation of the G-spot. The breast orgasm is from the stimulation of the breast. So you might feel it across your whole body. You might have different feelings and sensations. You might get emotional. Your experience might be different to my experience,
Yeah.
but the orgasm is a direct result of the stimulation from that particular area.
Yeah. Okay. And you've said, I remember you've said you've experienced that. You've experienced breast orgasm.
What I would say is possibly not quite to the orgasm state, but I've experienced really heightened pleasure, bliss states when having my breast or my breast stimulated.
Bliss. Okay, right. Do you remember, just out of curiosity, how long did it take to get to that state?
I can't remember. It was probably 20 minutes, half an hour, maybe.
Okay.
Maybe even longer. I can't remember. But these are not quick things to do, and it also depends on how often you've done it previously.
Mm-hmm.
So if no one's ever touched your breast before, and you're disconnected from your breast, you're not likely to have major orgasmic states. This comes over a period of time. Same with the G-spot. You sort of...
Same with the clitoris. Really, I remember. I remember the first time I masturbated, and it took me, I think, an hour and a half to 2 hours to actually climax, because I had no idea what I was doing. I've never done that before, and completely disconnected. Whereas compared to now, it's very different, because because of the connection, and you know what you're doing, and you know what you like as well.
Yeah, and it also is probably related to how often you do it as well. You haven't masturbated or made love for, 5 years, you might find you're switched off again.
Right, yeah.
So we can disconnect from our body parts as well as connect to them. But so there's lots of factors involved. But what I would say is I would recommend it's a practice for women to do for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And in lovemaking, certainly as your partner, but don't rely, if you really want to explore an orgasm, don't rely on it just being about your partner. It's something that...
Take the matter in your hands.
Yes. Literally. Take your breasts in your hands.
Exactly.
It feels like there's a slogan there somewhere.
Before we carry on with further questions, I quickly wanted to introduce the wine that we're already drinking, which is rosé. A couple of reasons this time why I chose to pair the topic of breasts with rosé. So one thing is the symbol of femininity. So because of the pink hue and the delicate flavours that you typically have in the rosé, I typically associate it with sensuality and femininity. I suppose I don't have to explain why breasts is the symbol of femininity and sensuality. And the other thing is the cultural evolution and attitudes that have evolved towards both the rosé wine and breasts. So how it evolved, how we perceive both. In the past, rosé used to be thought of as very simple, unsophisticated wine, and now with time people see that it can be very diverse. You can produce really high quality rosé wines, and similarly with breast, I think like we are shifting the attitudes towards breast, recognizing their importance, which is what we're doing here in this episode, essentially, from just pure breastfeeding or it's just there, to recognizing how important it can be in terms of pleasure and connection, etc., etc. So the shift in the perception also made me, connect these two, how there is this evolution in time. And what we're drinking is, and excuse my French, I'm going to butcher French now, is we're drinking L'Anatis 2021 from Chateau La Negli. It's from Provence, from France, classical rosé. It's a blend of Syrah, Grenache, and Cinsault. It's a very typical or common blend in that part of France, because all three grapes are they love warmth and sun, which is what you can get in the south of France as compared to, let's say, northern France. You will not get that climate. And this particular chateau is located in one of the sunniest places in France, so you've got a lot of sun and the warmth, which is what the grapes in this wine really, really need. the Syrah gives the acidity, Grenache gives it the fruitance, and salt gives it the perfume. Yeah, so Melanie, you drinking already? What are your thoughts? Is it
I am.
is it fruity perfume like?
Yeah, it definitely is. It's got I'm not very good at doing the taste of what's in it, but it feels like there's a rose or something.
Oh, that's a good one though. Rose, yeah. And very floral notes. This one is from Cooperative. I think the bottle's really, really cute. So it caught my attention and I thought, yeah, that could pair really well with the topic of breasts. And now to the questions about breasts. So you've mentioned that all breasts are different. The thing is that porn and Hollywood films and media and all that stuff, they distort that image of the breasts. They show you the perfect breast.
Yeah.
And then that creates a lot of insecurities in us, like, oh my gosh, my breast is not as perfect as the one I'm seeing on TV, which could actually be possibly a reason why we disconnect it, because if you feel like your breast is not perfect, you just don't give it much, you neglect it, you don't give it much importance. So I was thinking if you could share with us how we could overcome our insecurities about breasts. Whether that's in general or during sexual intercourse as well. I've heard, I don't remember whether that was a podcast or a TV series where there was a woman being interviewed and she said she only has sex in the, is it the cowboy girl position?
Oh,
where she's on top.
On
top, because that's the only position where her breast looks good.
It reminds me of people I've heard say in the past about they'd only have sex with the lights off because of concerns about how their body looks and stuff.
Yeah.
So it feels like this is a whole sort of subject potentially in its own right about loving our bodies. I've certainly got really big breasts, and certainly the older I've got, the more they've sagged. But my partner loves my breasts, funnily enough, and I love my breasts. But it has taken a while to get there, I think. I think this is an age-old topic of really loving ourselves and our bodies. I think one of the things that we can do is sort of a bit like the massage. Massaging ourselves is an act of loving ourselves.
Okay.
And you could also incorporate that with meditation as well, which I didn't say earlier. Really meditating on our breast and our body.
How would that look?
So holding our breasts and just closing our eyes and just again feeling our body, but also noticing, just spending some time in silence, like being grateful for our bodies, what they do for us, giving love, connecting to our heart, and just sitting there with that. All human beings, one thing that makes us common, all of us have thoughts. And we're learning more and more about, certainly if you meditate and do practices like that our thoughts are not who we are. But most people still think that they are. So if we have a thought about how our breasts look, it's probably not reality. Mostly the thoughts in our head are not complimentary. We'll judge ourselves or criticise ourselves. And women especially, I think we criticise ourselves a lot. And so one of the things about things like meditation and massage is actually being present to giving our body love and accepting our body for what it is. We're all different. We've all got wobbly bits that we don't like, or places or marks or things that we don't like about our body, but we're all perfect. And it is such a shame because, again, breast reductions, breast enlargements are again a huge thing across the world. And I think it's such a shame. And that directly comes from a person wanting either their breasts to be bigger.
Yes.
It's very often because they think the partner's going to want the breast bigger.
Yes, whereas the partner is more...
Very often partners don't mind.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
what's in our head is very often not reality.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes we are with a partner who says, oh, maybe I'd like your breast bigger or whatever. Now, that's your choice to stay with that partner or not. But there is nothing wrong with your breasts.
Yeah.
In the same as vaginas are all different shapes and sizes. Some of them have got lots of saggy skin, some of them haven't. It's the same with breasts.
It is a shame that the porn business and Hollywood business and the media business in general, they just tap into those insecurities so perfectly that you just forget that,
it's media as well. It's all these magazines with these perfect bodies, airbrushed bodies, and I think
which are photoshopped anyway in
they're
the first
photoshopped.
place, and then they make you think that you're not.
And some magazines are getting more sensitive to that nowadays because it's causing a huge mental health issue as well.
Yeah, I can see it.
Younger teenagers who feel they have to be perfect. You know, the internet now shows so much of this stuff, even if it's not direct porn, it's images on Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever.
Yeah.
Women are fed these lies about how our bodies should be.
Yeah. That's good business, isn't it? If you then can sell cosmetic surgery and different cosmetics and treatments and gyms and
massage oils, and that's going to reduce the breast size or make you look younger or whatever it is. It's huge business out there. Millions, if not billions of pounds are spent on making ourselves look better. And there was nothing to look better in the first place.
And probably, we're probably going off topic a little bit, but I believe, let's say you do the cosmetic surgery, chasing the perfection, you still won't be happy anyway, because it's not where the problem lies.
I would assume so. It's difficult to speak for others, of course, because somebody may do the surgery and be perfectly happy with it. But I would suspect that for many people, it doesn't make them happy, happy as they thought it was going to make them.
Yeah.
It's also worth saying, while we're talking about surgery, there is, of course, the kind of surgery that has to be done for medical reasons. So, like breast removal and stuff like that. Just for readers listening out there is, even if you've had a breast removal, and it's the same with any limb or anything, very often people who've had a breast removal can still feel either that limb or the breast that's been removed, and that's because the energetic breast or the energy of that limb is still there.
Oh wow! So it's as if it had never been removed.
Yeah, but it is removed, but it feels like it's there.
Oh, right, okay.
And that's because the energy. So again, I would recommend that even if you have had breast removal and mastectomy,
you can still do
like
the massage.
I would say just really connecting with, certainly putting your hands over the area. You could still massage over the scar, and certainly doing scar work as well is really healing as well. Because there'll be scar work, there'll be scars there as well. Yeah. So gently massaging can bring feeling back into that area. So again, you can get feelings and sensations that you possibly thought you'd lost.
Okay. So we're talking about sexual energy again. So it's it's haunting us now. We will we will do a separate, hopefully, episode about the sexual energy and tantra.
Tantric practices. I think
we should. Before we finish off, one last question I've got about what affects breast sensitivity and arousal beyond connectedness, how connected we are to the breast. Do hormones, age, breastfeeding, anything else, circumstances, stress, does this affect the sensitivity and how aroused we can get through
certainly breastfeeding. I think we can think of our breasts in a different way. And a lot of mothers, do report that they stop feeling sexual. The breasts become very functional because it's the breastfeeding, so they don't feel sexual anymore. So again, I mean, it just comes back to what I was saying earlier. It's massage, connecting with it, connecting with our breasts that could bring that back. So there's no reason why you can't do that.
Yeah.
It's also probably worth talking about breast health as well, because obviously one of the things that you can do while massaging is check for any lumps or anything.
Oh, I see. Okay.
In fact, regular breast massage could help. Yeah, because often lumps are related to blocked lymph nodes.
Oh, I see. So the massage is the
can
one
really
that
help with that. Hormones. I'm not medically trained, so I'm not sure I could comment on that particularly. But certainly hormones change our chemistry, and it depends on what kind of hormones. So if it's like HRT, so menopause, HRT, it may be that you feel more sensitive because you're getting more estrogen in your system. So it might be that you actually get more sensitive in that area. But it depends on the, steroids and stuff like that, which are also hormones, might have a different effect. So I wouldn't like to comment particularly. But in reality, there's no reason why anyone couldn't have feelings in their breasts.
Great. Yeah, so I thought we're not going to have a full episode, and we've got about 40 minutes talking about breasts.
Oh, wow, we still made it quite long.
Yeah, we don't seem to be able to make it shorter.
Well, it's so good. It shows how much juicy content there is here.
Yeah, the initial idea was about maybe 15, 20 minutes, but that never happened. So, right, okay, thank you so much for the breast talk and for drinking this wine with me. And
You're welcome.
thank you so much. Yeah, it's been great. I'll see you soon, guys. And yeah,
Yeah.
stay in touch.
Thank you. Bye-bye.